All right, so hello everybody. My name is Adrian. Granados. I'm a developer of some Mac tools for Wi-Fi monitoring, troubleshooting, and the goal. I only have 3 slides. So the goal today is actually to go over the apps and show you maybe some things that you don't know about them. And some new stuff that I recently added to the apps. And I hope for the Windows people here that you don't get bored. I hope that at least you find it interesting. But I'm not trying to convince anybody to get a Mac, although, be nice. So I'm going to start by launching AirTool. So Eddie gave us a nice, you see it there? No? Let me see if I can. Well, yeah. So this is a tool that I wrote for capturing packets. So you can actually do this by hand by running the airport command on your Mac and doing some, few steps. But the idea with this tool is that you can, with just one click, go and capture some packets and have the tool open Wireshark for you and show you the capture. Or you can upload the capture to a cloud service for packet analysis. It's already, it has integrated 2 services, CloudShark and Packets from Arista. And you can also, for example, let me show you here in preferences. So yeah, so you can save your packet capture to your desktop, or have it uploaded to CloudShark or Packets automatically. You can also, if you're saving to your local, file system, you can open it on Wireshark or any other. If you have another program that's reading that's able to open these files, then you can choose that program. Or you can choose to launch a script. This is, let's say you write a Python script that does some analysis on the capture. You can have it do the capture, launch the script, and then shows you the output of that script, for example. So let me I'm going to quickly do oh yeah, so you can also choose, I gave a 10 talk last year about link layer headers. You can choose your headers, but usually, you want to have radio tab headers so you can see this metadata information. You can, so let's choose, I'm gonna do a capture on all channels. So capturing all channels means it's going to hop between channels. It's going to, I think, listen by default for 250 milliseconds. And then you see there is changing between, hopping between channels 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, or whatever channels you choose. In this case, it's all. So I'm going to stop it. Now, this is a capture in the desktop, and this is, Wireshark with the capture opened. If we choose to, I'm going to switch to, I'm going to tell it to upload the capture to packets. So let's do another capture. I'm going to stop it right there because it's a lot of. So he already uploaded the capture to packets after he reconnected to the Wi-Fi network, and then you can click on the notification. It's gonna open. Hopefully, the network is not being very good today, but yeah. So this is the capture that I just did. It's on packets on the web, on the cloud. Other things you can do, you can have it like limit the capture by size or time or number of frames, and you can have multiple capture files. So if you are trying to troubleshoot a problem, you can let it run, let's say, for 15 minutes and have 3 files, so it will rotate, and you have at least the last 30 minutes, and if you are monitoring, if something happens, you can go back to just to those 2 files, those 30 minutes, and see what's going on in Wireshark or another tool. You can choose to drop the data of the data packets, the payload of the data packets, so to save space or for privacy. And this is just the tab to configure the integration with these cloud services. So now I'm going to switch to Wi-Fi Explorer Pro. Let me actually just have it. So this is a Wi-Fi scanner. Just shows you the networks and have some a bunch of tools, columns you can choose from, and I'm going to show you some of them in a little bit. You can not only scan using the built-in Wi-Fi, but you can also import packet captures, and it will extract the beacon or probe responses information and show you, the networks that it finds in the capture. So in this case, remember I did a capture on all the channels, so this is displaying the networks that it finds in these channels. You can choose to do an active scan, a passive scan, directed scan, which means you're going to tell it exactly which SSID to look for. And there is some cool integration with the WLAN-PI. So I think some of you guys tried this yesterday during the deep dive. But now when you connect your WLAN-PI to your Mac on the USB, Wi-Fi Explorer will automatically detect the WLAN-PI and will list it here as an external adapter. So you can choose that, and it will start scanning using the WLAN-PI. It takes some seconds for the first results to show up, but then, yeah, it's there. So those are networks are seen by the adapter on the WLAN-PI. So as you know, Mac is very limited when it comes to to support. It's actually you can only pretty much use the built-in adapter for capturing stuff. So I came up with this hack, because there is no other word for it, but to run kind of a virtual machine, a Linux virtual machine on the computer, and then you can use external adapters, the same you can use, for example, with WLAN-PI, as adapters for scanning on the tool. So this one, the Realtek Edimax, is this one connected to the laptop. It's actually connected to the virtual machine that is running on the computer, but the virtual machine is running a service, and the Wi-Fi Explorer connects to this service to tell the service to start a scan on using the adapter. So it's it works the same as with the WLAN-PI. So imagine it's the same. In this case, the WLAN-PI it will be like the virtual machine running on the computer. So these are the results as seen from this Edimax adapter. The nice thing about this is that you can. So when I'm using an external adapter, I'm actually running a passive scan. It's not active, and passive I have found that it's more accurate in terms of their RSSI, and there are some columns like, for example, uptime, which kind of estimates the number of days the access point has been on. This is only available if you do a passive scan. The same with beacon rate, which is the rate at which the beacon was transmitted. And this is here just because in some cases, so usually the beacon is transmitted at the MBR, the minimum basic rate, but sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes the beacon is transmitted at a different rate. It's very unusual, but it happens. I don't know if here, if I pull out yeah, like in this case, see? This network, the mean basic rate is 1 megabits per second, but the beacon rate is being transmitted at 2 megabits per second. And this is important because when I go and calculate the beacon airtime, which is the time that it takes to transmit a beacon, the beacon rate is used in this equation. So if it's not this, when it comes with to lower rates, the difference between 1 and 2 megabits per second in terms of time, it's significant. And this beacon airtime, beacon rate, and beacon interval, this is information that I use to calculate this other piece of information here called the beacon overhead, which is the amount of airtime that it's being taken by the networks in idle mode, like just because they are transmitting these beacons. So in this case, for example, it says channel 6, 4% of the time is just beacons or proof responses, this type of frame. So if you have many SSIDs or a bunch of networks, like I'm going to show you, I have a capture here that I did at ALX airport. So you see here, the beacon overhead on channel 6 was 29%. So 29% of the time, the bandwidth is being used only on the beacons. Of course, you can filter. And there's many ways to filter because I think it's important to quickly get to the information you want. So you can use this on the side. It's just a bunch of categories you can choose from, like network name or the mode. And you can use these filters here. So use 2.45, open secure, and you can define your own. So in this case, for example, DFS is one that I added, and I'm telling, just show me the networks that are on channel 50, from channel 52 through 140. And hidden is show me just hidden networks. So if I do this is only hidden networks, DFS. There's nothing here, but I think it was because when I did the capture, I had in AirTool do not capture on the DFS channels, just the regular channel. So that's why there's nothing here. Maybe there's something in the airport and running on DFS, I don't know. But I don't have the data. Yeah. The other cool thing the other column that is cool is this device name. It shows you the name. So some access points and vendor support giving a name to the access point. Right now, I think Cisco, Aruba, Aerohive, Mist, Stream Networks. Yeah, those are the ones that I support. Maybe Microtech. Yeah. So you can see the device name there. If there is no if there is no device name, then you can use annotations, which is a nice way to track the IP. So you just click there, and then you add or and then you can see the annotations in the graphs here down. You can also, if you have a bunch of access points, you can use some of this REST API stuff to build your own list of annotations. You can also import them into the tool. So we can say, for example, let's see, I'm going to take those three, for example. I can copy. When I select a row and I right-click on a column, I can copy the value of that column. So I copy the BSSID there. This is an empty file that I had already there for quick for the demo. So I'm gonna say X, Y, Z. I'm gonna save that. Now I'm gonna file, import, and then there you have the annotations in there. So if you have 100 IPs and you wanna give annotations to them or pull the data from somewhere and build this file, you can, and then pull in the annotations into the tool. And with that, I'm gonna switch now to. I forgot before I switch. So the tool has an integration with the some spectrum analyzers like MetaGeeks DBX. So you can see the RF in these graphs here, and then you can choose different visualizations like utilization, maximum life, etc. I also provide an integration with Zigbee sniffers. Right now, I only support one, which is called Rapid Connect. I'm trying to support more. I'm working on the Texas Instruments CC2531. That's the one I'm trying to support, and I'm thinking of adding some Bluetooth stuff in there too. So now let me show you the other one, which is Wi-Fi signal. So Wi-Fi signal, it's you can't see it there either. Yeah, so it's this menu bar app that you can use to monitor your connection. And the nice thing about this tool is that you can customize what you see in the system bar. So you can go to preferences. And so, for example, I have this display pattern now, but I can change that to, I can show, for example, I don't know, the BSSID, and now it shows up in the system bar there. The other thing is that, remember, I had some annotations in Wi-Fi Explorer, so you can see the annotation also being shown here below the padlock. So it's integrated in that with Wi-Fi Explorer in that sense, and also you can track events, and this is nice when you are trying to, you know. I know that roaming troubleshooting takes more than just, you know, seeing like, oh, he roamed, you know. But I think it's nice to have, like, at least for the laptop. I know you need to do the roaming analysis for other devices or phones, whatever. But here, this is me walking yesterday around the hotel after the retro game night. So you can see here the, you know, different times when it went from access point to the other one. You can see when it disconnected, when it joined a different network, the channel signal strength at the time that happened.
Is that the to rate or the from rate?
What was that?
The rate, is it what you went to or what the last rate before you left?
The rate I went to. You can also track rate changes here, and you can export that to you know, CSV, so you can analyze it in a different, you know, Excel spreadsheet or whatever you want. And the other thing is that if I, for example, well, every time you can have it so that, sorry, I'm trying to navigate with Zoom. You can also have it to give you system notifications when you join a network, when you disconnect from the network, when you roam to a different access point, when the channel changes, but this is pretty much when you are, you know, playing around with the access point. Or when the quality of the link degrades. So for example, if now I go and try to, let's say I'm just gonna disconnect. So you get the notification. So, which is nice. I mean, if you are troubleshooting certain problems, you can walk around, see the notification showing up, or you can go here, see the events. The other thing is that you can show in this main window the MCS index for the current, the current one. These on top are kind of the capabilities of the access point, so the max you can do. And here in the bottom is the current state. Show the channel width, show your IP. You can also have it to graph, instead of signal strength, the MCSS index, and you can see, when it goes up and down, stuff like that. And let me see if I'm forgetting anything. Oh yeah, the remote sensor. Yeah, the other thing you can do is you can, if you have a small Android or a Linux computer, you can run a script, a Python script, and connect to it remotely and you can use it for scanning within Wi-Fi Explorer. So now I'm gonna connect to, oh my God. I think this should work. This is connected to the WLAN PI. So just imagine that it's being, in some remote location. And you can find I have a GitHub repo where you can find the script. And you can put it in any Linux computer that has, a Wi-Fi adapter that is capable of using monitor mode. And in fact, this is the script that is running on the WLAN PI right now for scanning. And I also have here what I was telling you about, the external adapter support environment, this VM hack. Even if you don't want to run it, if you're trying to learn Python, you can go here and see, how I'm doing the scanning, how I'm getting how I'm putting the interface in monitor mode, all the stuff. If you want to experiment with this type of stuff, I think it's cool. I know that, sometimes I work on something, it's maybe not for everybody, but just for for fun. And these type of things happened. And that will be all.